wireless gaming mice featuring high-performance sensors are now getting cheaper. Today we'll have a look at the Ajazz i309 Pro, one of the most affordable wireless gaming mouse in the market, featuring a lightweight body, a familiar shape, and a great performing sensor. Let's get started. Okay, so Ajazz is a Chinese brand that manufactures affordable gaming peripherals. So far, their products have been receiving positive feedbacks. I myself have used their i303 Pro for quite some time and have come to love it. The i309 Pro looks to be a step up with its more lightweight body, higher rated switches, and built-in battery. Now, before everything else, let's quickly unbox this and check out what's inside. So the box comes with a manual, a paracorded USB-C cable, the wireless dongle, and the mouse itself. The mouse weighs in at 77 grams, measures 125mm long, 59 at the middle, 64 at its widest point, and 39mm at its highest point. The cable's nice and soft, actually softer than the one that came with my Fantech Helios. Playing while charging this mouse shouldn't be an issue at all. Flipping to the bottom, we can see the on and off switch, an LED button for cycling through the RGB presets, the sensor lens at the middle, and 3 mouse skates. Now, it's worth mentioning that the skates used on the i309 is similar to what was used on the i303. They're nothing special really, just the usual common Teflon skates you'll find on most budget gaming mice. They're not as smooth and consistent like the PTFE skates on my Fantech Helios, but fine for the most part. Though I have to tell they're pretty thin and scratchy out of the box. They'll probably get better over time as you use the mouse. Alright, for starters, I was immediately impressed with how light it is. But there were a lot of compromises made to the mouse, and it was very evident upon touching it. Plastic feels cheap. Honestly, I feel disappointed. My i303 feels more premium than this. Though, I have to say it has a pretty unique design, a deep groove starting at the top going to the sides, and while it looks long, it's actually just as short as my i303. The extended main buttons just make it look longer. Build quality is good enough, but not excellent. It creaks a bit when I squeeze the top shell and the sides. And I can activate the back button if I squeeze hard enough here. But yeah, that's not likely going to happen anyway in a normal use case, so don't bother. Weight distribution is slightly towards the back, just like most wireless gaming mice with built-in batteries. Texture is slightly matte and a bit sticky, just like the i303. So overall, good enough, until I notice a rattling noise when I shake the mouse. I hope it's not broken. Also, why does it not have a compartment for the wireless dongle? Like, seriously? Okay, now moving on to the buttons. The main buttons use Huyu switches rated at 50 million clicks. They feel like Huano switches. Honestly, I wish they were arm runs just like the i303, but that's just me. Compared to the i303, it has a noticeable pre-travel but still fine for the most part. Clicks are crisp and solid. The side buttons have really solid clicks with no mushy feeling, which I like. They have a low profile, but the bump is noticeable enough, which can serve as an extra support for the thumb when lifting the mouse. Scroll wheel's fairly light with tactile steps. It doesn't wobble and has decent tension as well on the clicks. However, I just don't get why they would put these lines parallel to the wheel. It just doesn't make sense, and it gives it a really muddy feel when scrolling. Honestly, I prefer the i303 scroll wheel over this one. The DPI button's okay enough and pretty light to activate. It has a small indicator below it, which lights up for a few seconds whenever you press it, indicating what DPI you're currently at. Though you'll likely need to consult the software first to know which color is which. Other than the muddy scroll wheel, I find the button satisfying enough. Here's a quick sound test. Now moving on to the sensor. The i309 Pro uses the same sensor as the i303, which is a Pixart BMW 3238. It's derived from the 3335 and performs similarly to it. It has a 125 to 1000 Hz polling rate, DPI range of 100 to 16,000, tracking speed of 300 plus IPS, and 40G acceleration. Liftoff distance is measured at 1 mm, which is great especially to those that play on very low sensitivity. And of course, for the usual tests, as you can see, it has zero angle snapping and I did not notice any mouse jitter over the course of my testing. It tracks pixel by pixel and has zero acceleration issues. It also has no issues tracking very fast movement. Sensor spin out is non-existent on this one. All in all, it's a great sensor and I have nothing to complain about it. Look, I can even throw Totodial with it. Okay, now let's move on to the most important part, the shape. Shape is king when looking for a gaming mouse, may it be wired or wireless. Great specs and build is useless if the mouse doesn't feel comfortable. Now, the i309 Pro is an ambidextrous mouse with side buttons on the left side, so it favors right-handed users. Left-handed users can still of course use an ambidextrous mouse like this, but they'll have to get used to the side buttons or just disable them through the software. This one has a neutral shape, slightly similar to the egg-shaped design of the i303 Pro, just a bit wider if we look at it from the bottom. The grooves on the sides are less pronounced so they appear almost flat. While I do appreciate the textured side grips, they hardly help since they're all plastic. I wish they just made them smoother. Makes the mouse look stealthier. Hump is at the middle, gradually sloping to the back, compared to the i303 which has a slightly pronounced hump. It has a low profile and geared towards a relaxed palm and fingertip grip. Claw grip would work fine but you'll have to get used to the low profile, and you don't get much support for your palm if you claw it. If you're looking for more palm support, then the Helios is a better alternative. Palming the mouse feels like my Machinic M620, which is a Model O clone. Though it feels better since the size is just right for me. Fingertip grip can be a bit tricky, at least for me since it's a bit wider than the i303, and I tend to be an edgy fingertip gripper, so I tend to touch this part of the mouse sometimes. But yeah, I just adjusted my grip over time and got used to it. For the record, I have a 17 by 10 cm hand, and for the recommended hand lengths, 14 cm to 19 cm can effectively palm it, 15 to 17 for claw, and 16 to 20 for fingertip. You can refer to this table for more details. Note that these are just estimates and my personal thoughts. Your experience may vary. Software is pretty similar to the i303 Pro. You can customize the DPI settings, adjust polling rate, sensitivity, create macros, and customize the lighting. Changes are immediately saved to the onboard memory so you can actually use the mouse on another computer without having to reconfigure everything. RGB lighting is not over the top, which I like. The lights are well diffused and gives the mouse a premium look despite the cheap plastic used on it. And just like most wireless mice, it turns off the moment the sensor detects movement to conserve battery. By the way, the mouse automatically sleeps after a few minutes of inactivity. You can wake it up by pressing any button. So I've been using the i309 Pro for a week now, and I'd say it's good enough for the price. 1,600 pesos for a lightweight wireless mouse with decent specs and shape is just hard to pass. Plus, it has a built-in battery, which is rare at this price point. The rattling noise is still there, but it didn't really affect performance as far as I can tell. I kinda enjoyed playing Valorant on this one, since it's much lighter than the i303, though the skates, just like my aim, could use some improvement. I've also managed to adjust my fingertip grip on this, and honestly, it feels better to wield than the Helios. It's not really that hard adjusting since it's almost the same shape as my i303 Pro, and the low profile really helps with my fingertip grip. Battery life is excellent, and just like my Fantic Helios, it goes from 100 to 20% charge in about 3 days with RGB lights on. It's likely going to last longer if you disable them, but RGB is life, so screw it. To wrap things up, the Ajazz i309 Pro is a decent choice for a wireless gaming mouse for its price point, though it has a lot to improve on. With better construction and mouse gates, this could easily match up against other mainstream wireless mice today. Then again, had Ajazz done that, the price would definitely increase, but honestly, I don't mind. They had a good start. Great specs, shape, weight, they just failed on the build quality and mouse gates. With that said, I actually ordered some grip tapes, Hotline DIY mouse gates, and a white spray paint. Stay tuned for the follow-up video where I will attempt to torture myself and make this mouse feel better. That's it for this video. Like, dislike, comment down if you have questions or anything to say. You get subscribed so you don't miss out on my next uploads, and as always, thanks for watching and see you guys soon.